I know that some people have a deep hatred for me for many reasons.
Devon Larratt is arguably the most famous veteran arm wrestler on the planet. His rising star, just like his nickname, seemed to be without limits. Yet lately, there's unprecedented levels of scrutiny and controversy, almost bordering on hate surrounding the man, with some even saying he's ruining the sport of arm wrestling. In this video, we'll take a look at why it seems that nowadays, everyone has a reason to hate Devon. Top roll that like button and subscribe to the Arm Historian if you're into arm wrestling. Let's get into it. In the 2000s, Devon was the smiling Canadian serviceman, taking on the world, beating legends like John Brzenk and embodying sportsmanship. That image, for many, is what makes his recent transformation so jarring. Devon Larratt has certainly been known throughout his career, but especially during the last decade and a half, for skirting the outer edges of the rules.
I know that this is difficult times right now, and I'm the devil. Okay, I know that.
What the hell is he talking about?
His incessant fighting for the best possible setup before the match even starts, as well as frequently arguing with the referees about his opponents doing the same, has led many people to conclude that Devon will win at any cost.
Move on it.
Tighter.
That does damage.
Yes.
I would say put open.
Devon wanting the strap tighter, Prudnik saying no thanks, but interestingly the referee's doing it.
Moreover, some would go on to argue that Devon has even been directly responsible for several rules changes in different leagues he participated in essence stacking the cards in his favor. He has always been and continues to this day to be open about his want for rules changes.
Oh, Devon's trying to change so he can win. Whatever. Rules are the same for everybody. I've been trying to change the rules my entire career. I like freedom arm wrestling. I like running fouls. I like lower pin pads.
A lot of rhetoric about Devon online revolves around his behavior during a match, getting more and more brazen as the years have gone on. But is this actually true? In Devon's match versus the American super heavyweight Chance Shaw, Chance seemingly saw an opportunity to troll Devon during the match, as much as he perceived Devon consistently did in his own matches.
Let's see the call from referees.
In Chance's mind, he was giving Devon a taste of his own medicine. During this extremely heated match, one that Devon won in the end, a scuffle ensued between Larratt and Artem Taranenko. When Devon walked over to Chance's corner, presumably in a bid to taunt his opponent, one of Chance's cornermen, Artem, took things in his own hands and tried removing Devon physically from the confrontation. With the two now entangled on stage, Devon's wife Jody tried breaking up the kerfuffle, but unfortunately got embroiled into the fight. Upon seeing this, Devon took it up a notch, quickly submitting Artem in a hold. This whole debacle took place on quite possibly the biggest stage arm wrestling had ever seen. Therefore, some hailed this as more spectacle and a harmless exchange, while others expressed the opinion this kind of behavior has no place in a professional sport. While that clash was sparked in the heat of competition, some fans argue it was just one example in a string of matches where Devon's antics overshadowed the pulling itself. One other turning point that a lot of fans point to, as Devon taking trash talk and intimidation too far, is his match versus Oleg Petrenko in late 2024. Devon's behavior did seem more erratic and combative than before, even when it was already long clear Oleg didn't stand much of a chance in the matchup.
You want to just go?
Ladies and gentlemen,
It wasn't this easy. This is the champion.
and let this be a 100. And Devon
look at me.
Larratt
Hey,
is trying to
Nes.
Opinions were clearly still divided, with one top comment stating, "A lot of us here are former Devon fans, but have been turned off by his recent change in behavior. He was once a cool, down-to-earth dude who enjoyed arm wrestling and just wanted to spread the love for the sport. But now, no matter how you try to spin it, it's clear that he has become increasingly narcissistic and toxic. I'm sure he's still a cool guy in person, but the persona he displays online has been very distasteful. The drugs and fame have got to his head, it seems." Talking about drugs, what happens when one of the most notorious figures in arm wrestling, aka Devon Larratt, says he took an illicit hallucinogenic before some of his matches? Devon Larratt didn't have this info leaked, he volunteered it. He's always been candid about experimenting with controversial methods and also his recreational drug use. For example, the use of ketamine as a form of recovery or resetting of his nervous system has been very well documented.
Everything is internal, and the processing is where the hallucinogenic spins the drug takes place.
So it might not come as a surprise that he talked openly with Mitchell Hooper about his use of LSD during a World Championship match with the aforementioned Oleg Petrenko. This led many to speculate, of course, that the substances he took that night were responsible for his erratic behavior during that match. He offered this information freely and casually, at times almost seeming slightly boastful, and when someone with his level of exposure says something like that, it inevitably carries some weight. The community immediately erupted and discussions started popping up left and right. Some fans and fellow athletes saw it as no big deal, a personal choice if you will. Others weren't so forgiving and argued that drugs like that don't have any place in a professional sport and that Devon is setting a bad example for future arm wrestlers. I asked my livestream chat if they thought Devon should face repercussions for his actions. The result was split right down the middle. Again, pointing at this being a very contentious and controversial topic within the community. This split in opinion reflects something bigger, the tension between personal freedom and professional image. The line between pushing boundaries in the sport of arm wrestling, but by doing that, potentially damaging its credibility. On a personal level, I don't have any issue with someone exercising their bodily autonomy by ingesting any substance, although in a professional setting, maybe not so much. The fact is that drug use of any kind runs rampant in arm wrestling already, and Devon is no different than the other top athletes in this regard. Devon Larratt has always had a complicated relationship with the eastern side of the arm wrestling world. In the past, critics accused him of dodging eastern pullers, especially during his WAL-focused years, but in the modern era, that's no longer a realistic charge. Instead, many of his clashes with the East now stem from league politics, personal conflicts, and high-profile drama, sometimes seemingly somewhat stirred on by the leagues themselves, which, for promotional purposes, I can't really blame them. The biggest flashpoint came in 2025, when East vs West founder Engin Terzi sold the league to new owners Robert Baxter and Dexter Tan. Several months later, the transition sparked a storm of backlash when ties were completely severed from Engin Terzi, particularly from some Eastern-based pullers who preferred Engin's leadership and reportedly refused to compete until he returned. While some fans speculated that Larratt may have played a behind-the-scenes role in encouraging the change, or at least stood to benefit from it, East vs West officials publicly denied he had any ownership stake or influence over the sale, stressing that he is not an owner and has no special privileges, beyond of course being one of the sport's most marketable stars.
What do you think about any biasness in refs?
Well, I think Engin's done a great job of picking the refs. He's chosen all the refs from WAF, and they're top-level refs. They're master referees. They're very good at being unbiased.
That didn't stop the speculation. Critics argued that Devon's outspoken, sometimes polarizing presence made him appear closely aligned with the new owners. Whether or not he actually had sway over league decisions, this perception fed into an existing narrative, namely, that Devon is not just a competitor, but also a political player in the sport. The drama deepened when a much-anticipated match between Devon and Vitaly Laletin was cancelled in the summer of 2025. Officially, this was due to visa and organizational issues, but given the timing, many fans tied it to the unrest within the league. Some observers, already primed by years of accusations about Devon bending rules, connected the dots in their own way.
Did I not coach you during Levon? Did you not do all the shit that you accused me of? All the things that you just said that I do, I told you to do them against Levon and you did them, you jackass. You dumb fucker. You dumb everything that you accused me of, you just did.
This guy, you see how many problems he have in his mind. He came here only to offend me.
All I hear is him crying and crying about how I cheat.
It's important to note though that Devon himself has been clear about his stance. He's called East vs West the best league for him and pledged he'll never quit arm wrestling, whatever the politics. But as with many aspects of his career, the perception of influence rather than what Devon maintains are the provable facts is what fuels this controversy.
I'll continue to compete at the highest level that I can. That's what I'm gonna do. The best league is East versus West. This is where I compete.
The distrust was seemingly so insurmountable that a petition even went around, signed by many of the top Eastern arm wrestlers, asking for major reforms within the league, and specifically naming Devon as one of the major issues they saw with the current East vs West arm wrestling landscape.
I found out about the petition probably, it's been a couple weeks, and I heard that my name was a centerpiece in the petition. When I say the petition, it's a petition of 27 athletes to boycott the league.
It's not just Devon's behavior at the table that's drawn fire sometimes, it's what he does away from it too. Outside of competition, Devon has built a public persona that's larger than life, but also one that some say has drifted far from the humbled, disciplined everyman champion he once had as an image in the 2000s and early 2010s. Over the last few years, many fans have noticed what they describe as a shift. Some chalk it up to fame and the grind of constant social media, while others ascribe it to deliberate marketing, and yet others attribute more nefarious causes to the change. His videos, live streams, and interviews often feature him doubling down on controversial takes, poking at opponents online, and never shying away from confrontation. For his die-hard supporters, it's entertaining, calculated psychological warfare, a way to keep arm wrestling in the headlines. But for his detractors, it's just self-promotion at the expense of sportsmanship.
Terrified. I'll crack that guy's wrist so bad, I'll beat him even worse than I'm gonna beat Alex.
All of these factors, the persona shift, the influence, the polarizing techniques Devon uses, like the King's Move, even that has fed into the idea that everybody has a reason to dislike Devon. But it also underlines a simple fact. Whether you're talking about him in praise or in anger, you're still talking about him. And that keeps Devon exactly where he wants to be, at the center of the arm wrestling conversation. So after all this, does everybody really hate Devon Larratt now? No, of course not. The truth is that Devon's social media career, as well as his stock in the arm wrestling community, is still going strong, and in fact seems to be ever growing. Of course, with his rising profile comes tidal wave after tidal wave of scrutiny and criticism, with some people examining every word said, in jest or not, under a magnifying glass. Whether you want to condemn or praise Devon on a personal level, or you consider his contributions to arm wrestling a net negative, or on the other hand a boon to the greater arm wrestling world, Devon is one of our most prominent spokesfigures and is looking to stay for a long time to come. Although, after all this turmoil, and perhaps somewhat sparked by the many criticisms, he is hinting at taking a step back.
It's hard for me to stay away from the table, but my intention is to really step back, not just for my own sake, but I actually think it would probably be good for the sport as well if I take just a small step back.
Thank you for watching this video. I'm sure a lot of people have a bunch of opinions on this topic, and I'd love to see fruitful discussions in the comments. As always, a major shout out to the Armians and Fingerfolk. Arm Historian, out.